Hi, this is Crystal Blue, and I'm here to talk briefly about pile number 4 for Pick a Deck reading number 5 using the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards, as well as the Moon Oracle and the Tarot of Wonderland. So with that, I ask you to please review or look at the intros for piles number 2 and 3, and see how Spirit is guiding me through these messages. There are 2 specific seasons coming through, and there are 2 specific guardians that are coming through, as well as goddess energy. And I talk about that more in pile number 3's intro, and I encourage people to also review the references that I've listed for pile number 2, and you can see how this is all weaving into the fabric of our new earth. We're sowing seeds of new as we release and heal our past, and as the old world, quote unquote, dies away, which is biblical. And we know that to be true because that is what the Bible teaches. If you've studied the Holy Bible, the old will die away. Some people's interpretation of the Bible is, of course, their own interpretation, and they've made significant assumptions that are deeply and widely impactful to the majority of the population, which I'm here to correct, not because I'm a know-it-all, but because I'm a scientist who knows what these ne'er-do-wells are doing by manipulating science, engineering, technology, math, etc. So Spirit has me communicating through art, more right brain thinking than just the left brain thinking. And Spirit has me weaving in these missing links, if you will, because we are to move forward together to create this new earth, not the New World Order, which is more of the old guard and the old. The old is dying away. The new earth is being birthed, whether those people like it or not. Those people who are hoarding and have made it their life purpose to hoard resources and commit 7 deadly sins in the process are not evolving, and those who are not evolving will not continue to live on this earth. That's just how this earth functions, but it's been manipulated to the extreme, and that's why we see these extreme weather conditions that are being controlled so that resources and land can be dominated and controlled. Essentially, it's war, okay? It's natural resources war. So it's just another way of warring against those who have, to ensure that less have, or that more, that the less of the population has things they need to survive and thrive, while a few percent have, as I wrote in my book, all that's golden, right? But that's not actually the golden age, right? It's not the Aquarian age. That's what we're shifting into, is like a new Atlantis. And if you look back in history, Hitler was enamored with with Atlantis, and also with creating a utopian society. But we can see that it's dystopian, it's dysfunctional, it's not really beneficial for the human, or the human heart, or the human mind, or the human soul, nor is it beneficial for the animals who have evolved alongside of us through millennia. And, to blame the animals for COVID and all kinds of other things while they're being horrifically slaughtered is beyond comprehensible. So that's why Spirit has me communicating about this the way I do and as often as I do, because I'm calling out the bullshit for what it is. And it is bullshit because I've had to confront it myself, personally and also professionally in the Western United States. So the droughts are not coincidence. Neither are those tampering with the weather, which is also geoengineering, manipulating things anthropogenically through science, technology, math, and engineering, STEM. So I'm here to bring about more balance, a more balanced way of thinking about it, and a more balanced approach to contend with the problems that are being purposely created through problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic manipulation, as well as, manipulation of psychology. And pile number 3 brings in the air element, which is the mental, addresses the mental state, the mental issues, and that, mental issues that have been laying dormant in people's DNA, even, through generations. Uh, they This has to be purged so that we can evolve collectively, and that our chakras get balanced individually so that we can resonate more with Earth rather than act against Earth and just follow, the Trojan horse into hell. So it might sound harsh, but that's what we're talking about. And so it's interesting the opposition card comes out, right? In this pile number 4. So the Moon Oracle, I'll show you that in a minute, but the first one I want to show you is the Fire Guardian, which is interesting because there are so many fires that are being set by pyromaniacs, essentially as operatives for the government to take over land and more resources and, force people into more confined areas to be controlled in cities. That's part of the Agenda 21 agenda, as is controlling natural resources like water that I managed multi-million-dollar contracts for in California. So again, the drought is engineered, and so are these fires, okay? Most of the fires, I can't say all of them are, because of course we know lightning strikes also cause fires, but we know that the weather is being manipulated and the jet stream is being manipulated, and the movement of precipitation over vast tracts of land is being basically moved, and water resources swindled. So the Fire Guardian reminds us to ignite our passions, right? And to get in control of our passions, which I talked about in pile number 3, in relation to, ignite your passions, but don't let your passions take you over into negative territory and negative behavior and sexual behaviors, right? Like I talked about the Jezebel spirit that is, is an imbalanced spirit. It's not a divine feminine spirit. It's, harmful to families, harmful to one's internal system energetically and spiritually. And I'm not going to get into it, but you can read about the Jezebel and the narcissism on my Twitter feed at Blue Crystal, BLUECHRISTYL, and you can trace it also back to the cult of Baal, BAAL, which can also be traced to modern day military operations in America and in the Middle East, and of course Vietnam, etc. and also to May Day, May 1. Okay, so I mentioned in accordance with other piles that spring and autumn are two key seasons that are coming through prominently in this Pick a Deck reading number 5. And I'm going to set this here. And so when I do the extended reading, I'll read from the book, from this book, about the fire guardian. For pile number 2, it was it was called the protection guardian that was coming through. So we have 2 guardians and 2 seasons coming through prominently in this Pick a Deck reading number 5, centered about the energies of the full moon in Scorpio. And as you learn more about astrology and astronomy together, how they work together, you'll see the significance in relation to death and rebirth and the transformation process from the old way of doing things to the new way to bring forth this new earth that we're talking about, instead of those who want to terrorize and war against innocent citizens, innocent families, innocent children, innocent animals. So that's what I'm getting at here. The next card I want to show in relation to this issue of fire and opposition and warring energy, and you know, full moons bring out the crazy in people that are not balanced, because we know that the moon has a pull, an energetic pull on the tides, on menstruation, on the mental state of those who are not balanced in their thinking and their way of being. And it's not just one sex I'm talking about, and it's not just the menstrual cycle I'm talking about, okay? The moon has significant effect on us as a species, just as the moon has an effect and guides animals across the lands, and regulates our oceans. The energetic pull of the tides are influenced heavily by the energy of the moon. So when you look at what's happening on the moon and the space exploration on the moon, including that of China and Jade Rabbit, one needs to look a little more closely at just what all of this is opposing and what the opposition is. So the autumn card came out for pile number 1, I believe, and the spring card came out for pile number 3 from the Angels and Ancestors deck. So the Angels and Ancestors among us in spirit would like us to pay closer attention to what has transpired from spring to fall, where we're heading into now, just beyond 2 full moons in Aquarius, which is Uranus or Uranian energy, heavily influential with significant quick change and ushering out the old and bringing in the new, in accordance with the Scorpio death rebirth energy. And again, I said that the 2 full moons in Aqua have just transpired from late July into late August 2021, and in between has been the Lionsgate portal and the new moon in Leo around August 10th, August 8th, August 10th. So very pivotal. And we know astrologically that, so we know Scorpio is a scorpion, and also deals with death and rebirth, and also the occult energies, for better and for worse. And then also the fire energy. Leo is a fire sign. And so the August new moon energy was in Leo. So it's important to see this progression of cycles, of the moon cycles from new moon to full moon, and also the eclipses that have started up again this summer into the fall, and they will continue into the winter. So I did want to show this moon oracle card as we were talking about fire, the element of fire. Astrologically, it's the waning fire moon, the last quarter, and the number 6 and the season of fall corresponds in relation to the changes along the moon cycle and involving the opposition that we're seeing transpire before our eyes. So the number 6 is factoring in as well, and the colors red, orange, green, yellow, and purple are the chakras. So, and as I said, for pile 3, the crown chakra color purple was coming in into that message, pile number 3, very strongly. So the opposition that is occurring most likely has a lot to do with the imbalance, as I stated, for pile 3 in the intro, to imbalanced chakras. And I teach about this already on my website, sciencespiritualityuniversity.com. So it's very important to learn more about these moon phases, to watch what's happening upon the moon in relation to space exploration and China, as well as what they're actually doing on the moon, and also the dark side of the moon. Okay, and then the last 2 cards that came out are from the Tarot in Wonderland, and this gets to the heart of the matter. So you look here, the 3 of Swords is kind of like a dark night of the soul, and essentially, those knives don't look too inviting in this sweet heart cake, right? Almost looks like a wedding cake. It's pink and blue and red, but there's all these, there's 3 knives sticking in it, and it looks quite barren, almost like, and there's a storm clouds, so it almost kind of looks like moon terrain or Martian terrain. Alright, and in traditional tarot, 3 of Swords is a very painful situation to endure, and as the 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords to 10 of Swords is a very painful path to have to endure, which I've experienced as well. So that's why Spirit has me talking about this as a feminine person, a person in a female body. My soul happens to be female in this lifetime, and I'm here to learn and to communicate about my journey for a purpose, a higher purpose. And I communicate in the ways that I'm being guided to share information and correlate it intuitively. So you can't have a happy home life or a sweet spouse or significant other if you're being stabbed in the heart or sleeping with the enemy, as I've learned. And then also, so have many who are dealing with quote-unquote karmic relationships So you can go on my Patreon website. Blue Crystal is the handle, or you can search it as Crystal Blue, ChristylBlue, 2 words, and you can learn more about the relationship and how you want to get on the right ship, going to the new earth, not the one where you're going to continually be in this kind of barren, emotional, empty cups situation, right? Because swords are mental attacks, but again, they're also physical attacks, because what you think about, you do manifest or attract. So if you're constantly in turmoil, this is what you're going to keep attracting, and that's something that many of us are learning in relation to the law of attraction. And we're learning how to sever the cords, these energetic cords that keep us stuck in these karmic trenches or karmic cycles, which I had to learn too as part of my journey, unfortunately. But for the extended reading, I'll get into more about this in relation to tarot, but also to the moon energy, the moon cycles, and the natal chart, the importance of the natal chart, that you were born, the time that you were born and where you were born on the earth is significant, and your purpose here on earth is significant, regardless of what other people what they want to try to do to subjugate you. And that's part of the pain of the Three of Swords, is learning that there are people on this planet who don't want you to evolve or to have this kind of a life, right? This is a happy home, abundance, happy pets, peace and quiet enjoyment, and, a few little sweet treats even. And behind her is this house of cards. So with that, I'm just going to leave it. But notice the very colorful scenery in comparison to the backdrop of this, what's being served up. And many people in the United States are discovering this heartache in relation to their home, their property, their animals. As I talked about in pile 3, many animals are being abused horrifically. Our horses in the western United States are being taken off our lands and shipped to Mexico and other countries to be sold for slaughter. The animals help us regulate our emotions. They're unconditional lovers, and they are also here to help balance the energy on our planet, along with plants. The animal kingdom and the plant kingdom evolved along with us for a reason, okay? So not to be burned and scorched, and the earth is not supposed to be a scorched earth, right? So the song Moody Blues that I posted, I think it might have been for my Pick a Deck reading number 3. You can visit that Pick a Deck reading as well, but I encourage you to check out my website, as well as all the Pick a Deck readings and the readings that I've posted on YouTube and Spotify and Anchor FM, Anchor.fm, and of course I said Patreon. Blue Crystal and Crystal Blue, you can find me there. And if you'd like to order an extended reading, a video, and then also the written extended form of this reading, I'll be offering, if there's enough interest, for a fee, of course, because my time is valuable to me. But I do enjoy sharing what I see come through in the cards. And if you would like a personal reading in relation to any of these piles, you can also ask me to delve further in to that type of reading. So I'm going to be starting some new types of readings to help us use our senses more, to become more clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, and to trust your intuition, which is what I learned to do outside of my science profession as these storm clouds were approaching in my neck of the woods and my personal life. So I've certainly dealt with this dichotomy and the opposition involved. But again, in this pick a deck reading number 5, the Fire Guardian and the Protection Guardian are showing up for a reason, and this Fire Guardian is reminding you to ignite your passions that move you, that drive you forward, that rather than to attract people who want to use and abuse you mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, etc. Okay? So that's how Spirit was guiding me, and Spirit wants you to know that when you do seek out higher forms of intelligence and guidance, you will be able to overcome the opposition and actually follow your passion. Or this card that came out for me, follow your bliss. Okay, so I've had this on my desk for a little while, but when you follow your bliss, you manifest your dreams and you'll come into your own sovereign power. Okay, that's how Spirit works. So I'm just sharing a little bit of my personal energy with you, as well as my love for music and animals. And the unicorns are a higher energy of the horse, like the wild horse, They're free spirits as well. And so we owe it to them to protect them as well. Protect all animals on our planet, including the polar bears. But, right now the western United States is burning to the ground. Stop torching this earth, because that is what distorted man and distorted woman are doing, because they're not resonant with the earth, and the earth is shifting into a higher state of being, just within our Milky Way, and that's part of Earth's evolution. Evolution, and it's part of our evolution too. So we don't need people on the moon trying to control us from afar, as well as from our TV sets and from our workplaces, and in our cities and in our city governments and state governments and federal governments, etc. So there's too much control, and there's not enough accountability and taking personal ownership for one's internal growth, which requires you to balance your mind, your spirit, and your heart. And I'm encouraging you to think with your heart, because this will help you follow your bliss. So with that, I look forward to those who are interested in watching the extended reading for this pile number 4, as well as piles 1, 2, and 3. If you're interested in purchasing an extended reading, you can inquire about the price. And if you would like a written extended reading for any one of these 4 piles, you can also order that and specify that you would like it in writing. And I'll be happy to do that based on interest, of course. Because as I said, if only a few people are interested, I'm probably not going to spend much time writing it all up. I'll probably just let you access the video for a small fee. So with that, thank you for watching pile number 4, and I look forward to bringing forward the next series of my readings. So be on the lookout for them on YouTube, as well as visiting my Patreon site, Crystal Blue, or Blue Crystal, and seeing how Spirit wants me to teach this through the 6 or 7 different tiers that I've posted, and I have for a small fee as well. And you can get more compelling and interesting information that way to learn by, instead of just having readings here and there. So thank you again. Namaste.